Hello, everybody. Welcome to beautiful Barcelona. Welcome to MWC 2023. And welcome back to our Day Zero Summit. How many of you attended Day Zero Summit before with Huawei? Raise your hand. Only 30%? No, that's not. Okay, Huawei Day Zero Summit has been around, and that was traditional Huawei get-together in Day Zero for about 12 years. Since it was LTE night, it was 5G night, it was so many things. But really, we appreciate you having us the first stop in your very busy MWC week. Every year, Huawei choose a different theme for Day Zero. Last year, it was 5G business success. That was the theme. But this year, actually, we choose a more holistic theme. We choose a broader, wider, and a more impactful theme. The theme is green ICT development. Green ICT development is not actually just about the theme. Reducing power consumption, accelerating sustainable ICT, having a shared future for our society is fundamentally the most important thing that we can do. So thank you again for coming to our summit. But before continuing the agenda and all of our great speakers for today, we have in this room a man that is also very passionate about green, just like myself, maybe more. So it's my pleasure to invite to the stage the Huawei Corporate Senior Vice President and the President of Carrier Network Business Group. It's our pleasure to invite Huawei's Li Peng.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Huawei, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you all, and thank you for your continuous support. Last year in Barcelona, we discussed green development a lot, but put forward many targets and measures. Now, it's a meeting to see progress the ICT industry had made in terms of green development. The industry has reached a consensus on the value, standards, and solutions for green development. To promote green development in our industry, we need to improve the energy efficiency of ICT networks. This can help us maintain stable energy consumption as global traffic continues to grow. In terms of standards, last year, the ITUT officially introduced NCIE as an indicator to measure the intensity of network carbon emissions. And as for how to improve energy efficiency, GSMA's Blueprint for Green Networks discusses the importance of building a green indicator system and presents a wide range of solutions. As for Huawei, we have played our role in building a greener ICT industry. In particular, we helped global carriers deploy green solutions in over 100 countries. In France, we worked with customers to create innovative energy efficiency indicators. The indicator-driven green network not only improves experience, but also increases network energy efficiency. For example, software energy saving features alone can increase energy efficiency by 20%. In Spain, we helped deploy our optical backbone networks to improve energy efficiency by 91% and reduce cost by 29%. And in China's Qinghai province, we helped customers analyze their carbon footprints and deploy green networks. This increased the energy efficiency of indoor site from 63% to 97%, and increased telecom equipment energy efficiency by 53%. In addition to joint efforts with customers to promote green development, we also upgraded our own green solution. Last year at MWC, we proposed the value position of more beats, LED walls, and the 1+3 solution. This year, this solution will evolve from 1+3 to 1+2+3. That is, one indicator system, 2 energy-saving scenarios, and a 3-layer architecture. In addition to more beats, less walls, we will also focus on 0 bit, 0 watt. The energy-saving scenarios are more comprehensive and the solutions are more intelligent. My colleague will talk more about these new solutions later. We have also made non-stop efforts to reduce our own carbon footprint. In 2022, we made onto CDP's A list. In recognition of our transparency and performance on climate change, we are also developing emission reduction strategies for our ICT infrastructure business. Measures such as equipment upgrades and intelligent management will help reduce the carbon footprint of our production and operation activities. We have launched distributed solar power projects at Huawei's Dongguan Southern Factory and at many research centers. Moving forward, Huawei will continue to increase the share of renewable energy in our energy mix. And last but not least, I'd like to call on the industry to pursue low carbon and sustainable development. In addition to business success, we also need to achieve our green development goals. Thank you again for coming today, and I wish this summit a big success. Thank you all.
All right, so Li Peng called on the industry for low carbon and sustainable development. And that's the topic for our next speaker. He is from United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, the executive member of the office. So let's all put our hands together to welcome Masamba Thioi.
Good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking Huawei for giving me the opportunity to participate in this very important summit. I'm very pleased to be with you here. The focus of my intervention will be ICT embracing green and sustainable development. It will be articulated around 4 main points. The first is, what do we mean by ICT embracing green and sustainable development? The second point is, why is it that the green transition that is needed should necessarily be a twin digital green transition? So we cannot have the green transition if you do not have a digital transition. And then the third point will be around what should be done for the twin digital green transition to happen. And finally, the role of collaboration. So on the first point, what do we mean by ICT embracing green and sustainable development? Well, it means that the ICT needs first to be green. So it means that we have to decarbonize the value chain of the ICT sector. And we need also to enhance the circularity of this value chain so that we minimize waste from this sector. And finally, the ICT sector should provide well-being. So it means that it has to contribute in enabling the satisfaction of the core human needs of nutrition and health, shelter, access, including mobility, leisure, clothing, energy, and education. And it has to do it while being aligned with the 1.5-degree goal, while enhancing biodiversity, and while also enhancing land regeneration. Now, why the green transition should necessarily be a twin digital green transition? We have 4 main types of climate action that can characterize the green transition. The first of them are climate action that are based on solutions that disrupt current products that are carbon intensive and that are currently used for the satisfaction of the core human needs. And then the replacement with alternative product with low carbon footprint using value chain that support the climate and the sustainability goal. So think about dematerialization and streaming to replace compact disc, or teleworking to replace trip to office and office space, or digital services from municipality to replace a trip to municipality. The second type of climate action is those that are based on solutions that enhance the efficiency of use of product and services. Examples include, for example, car sharing, or being able to make a variable timetable of public transportation and their route using digital technology so that we enhance the efficient use of public transportation. So the third type of climate action are those that are enhancing the circularity of the economy. Think about blockchain that is used for the tracing of product and to monitor when they are reused, when they are repaired, when they are refurbished, when they are remanufactured, when they are repurposed, and when they are recycled. And finally, the fourth type of climate action, where there is no possibility of disrupting a product, and once we have enhanced and optimized the efficiency of use, the only solution that is left is the decarbonization of the value chain based on enhanced energy efficiency and enhanced use of renewable energy. So here again, the digital technology will play a key role. So what we can see is that the key climate action that characterize the green transition are most of the time enabled by digital technology. So it means that the green transition will provide a demand for climate and sustainability solution the ICT sector can respond to. And it provides market opportunity to the ICT sector. So now, what needs to be done to make this green transition happen, this twin digital and green transition. So first of all, we need to have ambitious climate and sustainability targets, because these ambitious climate and sustainability targets are what will create the demand for climate and sustainability solution and the market opportunity I was referring to. And then we need to have an integrated approach. Just working on the digital solution, on the ICT solution, will not be enough. These innovative solutions are to be combined with innovative policy instruments, innovative business models so that everybody can have access to this product, innovative financial instrument, innovative cooperative approach, and also innovative product from the culture and creation industry, such as gaming, products related to gaming, because we will need to have a change of behavior. We will need also to develop the framework that will allow to translate the demand for climate and sustainability solution into market opportunity. In that regard, one of the initiatives of the UNFCCC has been at COP26 to launch the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub that will have a digital platform where database of demand for climate and sustainability solution will be installed with a deep search engine that will go out there and look for solution. We have also planned in 2023 to have several engagements with potential solution provider. So we are collaborating with cities, and we have 50 cities that have been selected for their bold commitment to climate and sustainability, and that are facing challenge to implement this commitment. We will translate this challenge into demand for climate and sustainability solution and engage with potential solution provider through venture capital firm and through organizations such as GSMA, where we have a lot of potential solution provider. We have another very interesting initiative, which is about a Web3 system with the node being actually data center. And to participate to this Web3 system, one requirement is to be aligned with the net zero transition pathway. This is challenging, and we would like to help the data centers translate this challenge into demand for climate and sustainability solution. And same thing, we will go out there and engage with potential solution provider to see whether they can provide the solution. So what we can see here is that there is really a huge opportunity for the ICT sector in this green transition. Another important aspect is standardization. We need to be able to determine the climate contribution of ICT company. What makes it a little bit challenging is that they are enabling GHG emission reduction. They are not reducing just their emission, but they can enable other entities, particularly the verticals, to reduce their GHG emissions. So standardization will play a key role. We will need also the upskilling of the labor, because nobody should be left behind. We want to have a process that is as inclusive as possible, with no stranded people, and avoiding social crises that could arise from stranded people. So finally, collaboration. Collaboration will be critical. We need radical collaboration. Unfortunately, we are not collaborating enough at all levels. The UN should step up a green and digital diplomacy through its regulatory, its standardization, and its convening power to facilitate more collaboration. Nations are not collaborating enough. Their current level of collaboration is way below what is required for the twin digital green transition to take place. We need also to have collaboration among ICT companies, and this is why initiatives such as GESI and GSMA are very important initiatives because they can facilitate the collaboration among the ICT companies. We will need to have collaboration between the public and the private sector. So the private sector will be leading the digital transition because of the important economic opportunity that it presents. But the public sector needs to be involved. Government and the civil society need to be involved to ensure that the digital transition serves people and the planet and do not create negative externalities. We will need also to have collaboration between the ICT companies and their vertical, particularly to translate the development of digital technology into concrete use case that is applicable to their value chain. So, to conclude, the green digital transition offers a huge opportunity for the ICT sector. It provides market opportunity. But this goes beyond that. This is really about this twin digital green transition, providing, enabling the development of a new world. A world that is generative rather than extractive, a world that is regenerative rather than destructive, a world that is empowering rather than alienating, a world where flourishing life is available to all people, and a world where people have jobs that they enjoy because it is meaningful, because it is purposeful, and that they will undertake with talent and passion. And the type of radical collaboration that is required for this twin digital green transition is very important because it can contribute to achieving the vision of peace, security, and human dignity on which the UN is founded. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Masamba. Really, I will take the last thing that you mentioned. The radical collaboration is key between all the stakeholders. No matter carriers, carriers, vendors, industry organization, everybody. So let's now go ahead and invite the organization that's hosting us here in Barcelona. Of course, you all know it. Who? GSMA, exactly. So let's see the GSMA road of net zero. And do we have business benefit of being green or not? So it's my pleasure to invite the head of climate action of GSMA, Stephen Moore, please.
Thank you. Thanks very much. It's great to be here again at the Huawei Green Summit on day zero. As context for this, back in 2019, the board of the GSMA, representing the largest mobile network operators globally, and in fact the whole industry, made a commitment to help the industry move to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. So this presentation is effectively an update. It's the third update that we've done, third annual update on how the industry is doing against this net zero ambition. And firstly, I'd like to talk about one of the main ways in which we are working with the industry to achieve this. And that is through a task force, the Climate Action Task Force that was set up back in 2019. And the good news is that the task force continues to grow, and it actually now numbers 62 mobile network operators. You can see them listed there on the screen. And it's grown 9 new members over the last year. It continues to grow, and it's an opportunity for us to do several things, as you can see listed on the left-hand side. So we can show the leadership that we see across the industry, and we do see fantastic leadership on climate, and I'll touch on some of that today. We can advocate for further support that we need to achieve net zero, because net zero is a systemic change that we need to have happen, and it can't be achieved by mobile network operators alone. It has to be achieved in collaboration with others, in collaboration with governments, policymakers as well. We can showcase best practice, and again, there are lots of good examples of best practice across the industry. And we can also commission research, because this is a completely new area. So there's lots that we need to still discover. There's lots more innovation that we need to explore. One of the most important things, and in some ways the beginnings of any company's climate action journey, is around transparency and disclosure. So I'll just touch upon that first. And there is a global reporting platform for this. It's called the CDP. And we have been advising our members to report to the CDP, advising our supply chain as well. And really positively, we have mobile network operators, 67 of them now, disclosing, covering almost 80% of global revenue of those operators and 2/3 of mobile connections. So a really significant proportion of the industry that's disclosing. And what's even more positive is Huawei mentioned the A rating that they scored. We're also seeing fantastic A ratings from the mobile network operators as well, and actually a really big jump over the last year. So 36 of those 67 mobile network operators scored an A or A minus for CDP. And that was a big jump up, because it was 16 last year. So a big jump up. So I think that shows the commitment to transparency that we're seeing across the industry, and also climate progressiveness. I'll also touch upon a piece of research that we've carried out, colleagues of mine have carried out in conjunction with Huawei through the GSMA intelligence. And this just really highlights the importance of transparency, because climate change is an issue that's right at the top of challenges that people feel is most pressing now, but they also think is going to be most pressing in 5 years' time. And as you can see, it even beats some of the recent challenges that we've had around high inflation, economic stability, and the Russia-Ukraine war as well. So I think that's quite striking. And I think the other piece of research from the Thought Leadership report is around how companies are addressing this. So what companies are doing in response. And we can see there that there are a number of things, whether it's switching to renewable energy, which I think we'll hear more from today, building with sustainable materials, but also helping customers reduce their carbon footprint. And I think Masamba touched upon this as well, with digitization and the ICT sector supporting others to transition to net zero. So I think we're seeing a continuing push for this. This issue is not going away. People are recognizing its importance, seeing it running into the future, and doing quite a lot of things to address it. We're also conscious of how sustainability and ESG is reported across the industry, because there are different ways that companies report on it at the moment. So that's something else that the GSMA has been looking at over the last year. And we have actually produced guidance called ESG metrics for mobile. And this doesn't just cover environment, climate topics, but also covers some other social topics as well, sustainable supply chain, data protection, network coverage as well. So we've looked at what are the material sustainability issues across the industry and spoken to investors to look to understand, well, how is it that you understand what's happening across the industry? What is useful for you to see from the industry? And this has guided us creating these ESG metrics, and we're seeing that beginning to be rolled out this year. Telefonica actually being one of the first to just announce that they have reported in line with many of these metrics. Energy efficiency is really important on the climate side, and we're continuing to see a lot of work in this. Huawei's talked about this as well already this evening. We carried out a benchmarking study again this year, expanded the number of networks that was looked at as part of that. We're actually seeing the core efficiency network, core efficiency metric in that study increase from 0.24 kilowatt hours per gigabyte of data to 0.17. So I think that's really positive, especially as you can see that in terms of operator energy consumption, the majority of it does happen in the radio access network. We're also looking at fantastic case studies across the industry. So Millicom is an example of some things that they've been looking at around turning off legacy channels and legacy site decommissioning to improve the energy efficiency of their network. The flip side of energy efficiency is, well, where do we get the energy from? And for this, we've analyzed what are the renewable energy purchases that have been happening over the last year. So again, this is telling a positive story. There's a positive trend. So this is specifically looking at mobile network operators and what percentage of the electricity they use is from directly purchased renewable sources. Now, it's increased from 14% a couple of years ago. It's up to 24%, which is good. We see lots of mobile network operators entering into things like power purchase agreements. We've given Verizon there as an example. So Verizon has been entering into many across North America and really boosting the amount of renewable energy that they use. What's also fair to say, though, is that the other 76%, part of that is also renewable energy as well, because there is renewable energy that's part of grid electricity in most countries. But we actually see a big push for operators to purchase directly the renewable electricity. So we're seeing that feeding through and having an impact in terms of reducing the carbon footprint of mobile network operators, specifically their direct carbon emissions we see in Scope 1 and Scope 2. Another big topic that we've seen talked about much more over the last year or two, and Masamba touched on it, is around circularity. So we worked with more than 20 mobile network operators last year. We continue to in a project group to discuss what does the concept of a circular economy mean for the mobile industry. And as a result, we published a strategy paper explaining or outlining a vision for what it could mean. And you can see it listed here. So it's really ensuring that devices have as long a lifetime as possible, ideally using 100% recyclable and recycled material made with 100% renewable energy and where no device ends up as waste. Now, there is no device on the planet at the moment that fits all of those criteria, but we are seeing a lot of manufacturers start to head in that direction already. So we've seen Samsung recently publish an updated environment strategy where they talked about switching to renewable energy. We've seen Apple commit to have a supply chain that has 100% renewable electricity by 2030, and indeed an entirely carbon neutral phone. And Fairphone is very focused on making sure their devices are completely upgradable. So we're seeing really positive movements in this. And I think it's worth pointing out that if we were to extend the lifetime of every single phone by just 1 year, that would be the equivalent of taking 4.7 million cars off the road around the world. So it's quite environmentally and energy intensive to make mobile phones. 80% of the impact of a phone has happened before it comes out of the box. So I think I think we're going to see much more in this space, especially around the renewable refurbishment market, which is expected to hit around $140 billion by 2030. And finally, I think it's worth touching upon digitization and enablement, which again was something that Masamba talked about in terms of the opportunity for mobile connected technologies to help other sectors reduce their emissions. We've seen the European Green Digital Coalition launch over the last year or so, 82 companies in Europe, all committed to sustainable digitization. And we're starting to see a number of really interesting case studies come out of this pilot project around Ericsson optimizing port processes. We have building energy management systems from Schneider Electric. We've got an agricultural case study from Telia. And then we've got Nokia looking at Conscious Factory. So we have lots of different fantastic case studies come out of that project. And I think that will support the argument that being green and being digital, they're not necessarily in opposition to each other, but they can go together. So finally, I'd just like to say that if you would like to find out anything more about this, all the GSMA climate action resources can be found at gsma.com/climate. And I'd also like to point out the paper that we've done, GSMA Intelligence has done as well with Huawei, which explains some of the research that I've talked about today. So thank you very much for your time. Great to talk through. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. All right, so I think we heard from industry organization and from Huawei for sure. So now this is the time to hear from operators. So we arranged 4 operators' speech for you today to check their plans and actions and also the roadmap for being green. Well, the first one, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of China Broadnet Group. So please put your hand together to welcome Song Chi-ju.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's a great honor to be here and share CBN projects in green ICT development. At first, I remember 22 years ago, I was an engineer. I was engineer in EMC training in Malaga, another neighborhood city, Spanish. In that time, we only talking about GSM 2G technology. Till now, this time, we not only discuss the 5G technology, but also we consider about the harmonization with society and the environment. So I think so. Thank you, Barcelona WMC Conference. CBN is a major telecom operator in China. We are hope to build a innovative radio and television media communication network, a whole country media transfer and contents delivery network, and cover Chinese mainland telecom infrastructure network. Our mission is to build a globally competitive platform enterprise integrate with the media, information, and technology. We have more than 200 meetings, TV terminals, and cooperate a center worth 198 billion RMB. CBN adopted the wired and wireless full coverage strategy in order to build our competitive ability and celebrate service innovation. As some of you know, CBN first entered the mobile market in 2099. We have to find a way to quickly build networks and roll out service. Generally speaking, we face 3 major challenges. First challenge is we need to achieve the nationwide 5G signal coverage with competitive user experience. This required 1 million base stations, including antennas, cables, and the power supply. The initial investment was huge, and the CBN must select more economic way to operate 5G network. Secondly, build a nationwide network would involve with multiple networks, and the network deployment will take a long time. Thirdly, when we first obtained the 700 megahertz in 2099, mobile and base station don't support this frequency band. We need to drive device manufacturers to make this frequency band ecosystems. Due to these challenges, cooperating with other telecom operators was our best choice for more mobile service. Just everyone know, 700 megahertz is very best band. It's equivalent 50 fewer base stations than other middle band. CBN need quickly deployment and the service rollout with a strategic partner. Cooperate with China Mobile, we draw on each other's strengths and achieve win and win. We agreed on 7 microbands construction and share together. After that, CBN finished the world's largest construction and shared network in half years. It was good job for us. Thirdly, the deployment was fast. We can fully leverage internet network resource, and the cost was low. We built 80,000 base stations. We covered 1.4 billion people with 50% fewer size. Of course, it makes us asset light. We have formed a revenue share model with a 4G size shared and zero carbon emissions. To quickly roll out 5G service, CBN has built a network with a simplified architecture. Our transmission network is based on the other national TV broadcasting service and the backhaul network. We upgrade the network architecture to build a low latency, high reliability, and low carbon. The nationwide code solution was adopted for 4G and 5G, coverage more deployment. This enables centralized operations. They meet service provision at any special place can be used across entire network. CBN spent 6 months to develop 1.5 million users with 3.65 million 4G and 5G sites nationwide. Looking forward, in July 2021, CBN launched nationwide mobile digital TV 700 megahertz frequency band refarming. It only took 9 months and cooperate more than 6,000 radio and TV stations. And migrate frequency more than 10,000 radio and TV channels. In December 2021, we start 5G network called construction and sharing. On July 22, CBN start service provisions with CBN mobile number 192. Looking forward, CBN will focus on the following the 3 areas. Firstly, we will develop 50 million mobile users in 3 years through fixed and mobile coverage strategy. Secondly, we will adhere to network sharing strategy. We will also improve coverage in the remote areas, expand and strengthen green networks. Lastly, in order to support sales like 5G, home broadband, enterprise private line, we also build a comprehensive network backbone via the networks. At last, I am confident to see CBN experience with end-to-end network deployment reflect operators' green ICT development. I hope I have shared some useful information. That's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You really did share useful information. Thank you so much. All right, so Orange last year, they innovatively designed a unique indicator that takes into consideration both energy and user experience. So we have today their Senior VP of Operations and Network Economics in Orange to let us know what did they do. So please put your hands together to welcome Emmanuel Choutard.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In the upcoming 15 minutes, I will try to convey to you what we are doing as Orange in order to be more efficient from an energy standpoint and also greener in our operations. So last year, we had some research. We participated with NGMN, with GSMA, obviously. And I think we all agree on these 3 statements, namely that in the end, CO2 is what matters, even more than the energy consumption itself. We need to take a user-centric approach, considering as well the device part, as we have seen that it's quite impactful in terms of CO2 emission. And we have to consider, and it has been exemplified, illustrated by Stephen and previous speakers, we have to consider the positive role of our sector on the overall emissions of greenhouse gas, thanks to the usage that we bring to the other verticals. So in order to reduce our CO2 emissions, we are acting mainly on 3 axes. First, we improve the renewable energy part in our energy supply, and we are also at the same time looking to reduce the scope 3, so the CO2 footprint associated to the equipments which we are putting in place in our networks and also all the services which we are using and the waste management. We want obviously to reduce the energy OPEX because there is also, unfortunately enough, a conjunction with the value for the company to improve the value by minimizing the energy cost and the consumption. And we want to have a good efficiency of the energy we are using on our technical sites, thanks to monitoring closely and using also, we will see it, AI in order to build use cases which will support the efficiency. Alors, we organized our green program on 4 pillars. for which we have collaborations with Huawei that I will specifically illustrate. But overall, we have these 4 pillars to structure our action. The first one is related to the energy volume and the fact that we want to reduce them. We do that thanks to features deployed in the network to be more efficient, and also checking the energy consumption of the equipment, obviously considering it in the sourcing. Putting in place metering solutions to better know the energy consumption, the knowledge being the first thing in order to improve, and putting in place afterwards AI in order to identify windows of opportunity, patterns which are not normal, and to optimize continuously. Obviously, as well, decommissioning legacy technologies which are less efficient from an energy standpoint. So more specifically with Huawei, we are working on the hardware efficiency, looking at improving it with the products we are using from Huawei, promoting the features of energy saving, which Huawei is offering, and also putting in place monitoring and optimization, and looking furthermore to the famous towards 0 watt at 0 traffic, because we know that in mobile networks there is a certain correlation of the energy consumption with the traffic, but which is not so high coefficient of proportionality. There is in fact a high level of energy consumption even if you do nothing, if you don't carry data, which is an issue we need to tackle. The second axe is the technical environment. So the technical environment, it's quite important to be efficient. So it's the way we supply the energy on site, the technical chain to do this. And here we have guidelines for the affiliates, technical guidelines to implement. And also we support all our operations with ways and methodologies to improve their efficiency. With Huawei, we are working on technical environment solutions, be it UPS, be it storage, batteries, and DC power, co-innovation as well, with solutions that we want to test, that we are testing, like smart breakers, in order to be as efficient as possible on the sites with the energy supply itself. The third domain is green energy. So on this, we are working on introducing more renewable energy with PPAs, which we are signing in the various geographies whenever possible, because it depends also on the local regulations. But now it's becoming more and more possible. We are also implementing solar farms or solarization on sites as well, either with own capex or with ESCO model, so as a service model, which is profitable from day one, with a lower return on investment, obviously, as we are not doing the investment, but it's helping us to expand the solarization and to do more solarization in volumes. So with Huawei in particular, we are testing solarization of on-site solutions in many countries in Eastern Europe and as well in Morocco and Egypt, in order to have efficient energy supply from solar. And the fourth very important area is the circular economy, so the life cycle management of the equipments. Here, we are working both on the life cycle assessment, so getting to know, to understand the scope 3 for all the equipments that we are using, which is something quite new, and also implementing this in our sourcing as a criteria of choice, which is not easy, because there is a lot of declarative and it has to be obviously challenged and checked. And we are at the same time promoting the reuse of equipments with a specific program internally in order to redeploy equipments. And with Huawei, we have been doing quite good progress on the life cycle assessment. Huawei putting a lot of effort in reports and in identifying the scope 3 for us. We can do, and we are looking to do more in the reuse. Now, to illustrate each of these pillars, I will start with the first pillar related to the monitoring of the energy consumption and the improvement of this energy consumption. So for this, we deployed the solution NetEco in Orange, Egypt, on the mobile sites, and we will reach more or less half of the mobile sites which will be plugged on this platform by end 2024. And this allows us not only to see the power at each site, but also to have to put it in parallel with the network performance, because one key concern with energy supply on sites is to maintain a level of performance which is not affecting the quality of experience of our customers. And this is a trade-off which we all know is difficult to tackle, and we are doing it as well, analyzing patterns which are unusual and which can lead to improvements on some specific sites. The 0 watt at 0 traffic is an important target because we see with radio modules and with massive MIMO antennas that even if we are putting the cells at sleep, or we are putting in place the deep sleep mode, nevertheless, we manage to reduce significantly compared with the situation of low traffic and energy-saving features put in place. But still, it remains more or less half of the power consumption. So therefore, we want to go to the zero consumption at zero traffic by being able to put off, to switch off totally the network. Regarding the third pillar for renewable and also the technical environment solutions, with Orange Polska, we have been working on the solarization of sites, introducing the iSolar solution from Huawei, which allowed us to increase the renewable energy ratio of Orange Polska from 0, as it was at the very beginning of this energy journey, to 17% today after modernizing some of the sites. And at the same time, we increase the energy efficiency above 90%. It was slowly below, and we are now, it was a little below, we are now a little above in terms of energy efficiency, thanks to the solar solution, which goes with a refresh of the cabinet and an improvement overall of the efficiency. Ultimately, we want to go towards the zero carbon. So this is why we appreciate the initiatives, as said, from Huawei to give a transparent understanding of the scope 3 for us, so what it takes to ship the equipment, to build them in terms of carbon footprint. And here we can rely both on the carbon disclosure project and the EcoVadis scores. So it has been a lot of publications, and this is all the more important that this scope 3 footprint for us, for the greenhouse gas emissions from Orange networks is more or less 80%. So is the vast majority, and we evaluate today it is of course to be consolidated, but it's more or less 80% of the carbon emission, meaning that the scope 2, well, anyway, we take care of it because it's costly. So what the energy consumption itself and the fact that it should be renewable energy, the scope 1 is minimized, but the scope 3 is quite big, is predominant, and therefore it's very important that we go further in this direction, also towards reutilization of equipments, as it was underlined by Stephen for the terminals, the handsets, where I understand the ratio is more or less the same, 80% before you open the box. Bon. In terms of production of the handset carbon footprint, so we have here also a key stake in order to progress in the limitation of the greenhouse gas and the climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, it was great. All right, so I promised you as 4 operators to let us know their plans. We finished China, Broadnet, and Orange. Now, we are down to an operator that's really ambitious on their Ambition 25 plan. I'm sure you know it. We're gonna hear from MTN. And we're having here the General Manager of Sustainability and Shared Value for MTN. She's gonna let us know the green development and the connectivity for sustainable growth. So please welcome Marina Madali.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start by thanking Huawei for this opportunity to share our African story. For most that don't know, MTN has this very bold ambition to reach that's called Ambition 2025. And for most people, MTN has a very unique footprint. We operate in 18 markets in Africa and the Middle East and have about 285 million subscribers across these markets. Our strategy is very clear. And one of the key strategic enablers is to have ESG at the core. And we'll tell you a little bit more about it now. So MTN really believes in creating value for its stakeholders. And we believe we can achieve this through sustainable and responsible environmental, social, and governance practices, solutions, and innovations. And as part of that, our core driver is about doing for tomorrow, today. And today, I'll touch a little bit more around what we're doing for the planet in light of the theme of the summit. And particularly, when you look at the African continent, and I think some of the speakers have touched on some elements, you'll see that Africa in particularly, although Africa's relatively got a very small contribution towards global emissions, what you find is that Africa is still most severely impacted. Flooding, droughts, disasters, and so forth are affecting a lot of our countries and a lot of the markets that we particularly as MTN operate in. So there's an overall acknowledgement that climate change is real. And particularly as an organization, we believe in minimizing our impact on the environment. And we've set out this ambition to reach net zero by 2040. And that comes down to partnerships. And I'll touch a little bit more on that shortly. When you look at particularly our profile, it's much similar to a lot of other operators. You'll see that what's in our direct control is actually the area that it's not the greatest emission areas, ironically. And so you find that Scope 3 makes up the bulk of MTN and a lot of the other operators. So the question comes, do we collaborate with one another, and how do we partner with others to be able to achieve this? And I think that theme has been coming through of the power and the importance of collaboration. I think the other is just in terms of the breadth of the type of countries we're in, and you start finding that, you know, some of the largest economies in Africa, like South Africa and Nigeria, contribute the most to our particular footprint. As an organization, as I mentioned earlier, we looked at the sector pathway, which Stephen had shared with you, and we actually set ourselves a target to reach net zero 10 years earlier than the rest of the sector, aligned to this bold strategy of ours called Ambition 2025. And part of that was really saying, how do we play our part in making a difference to society? And so just as underlining principles, our approach and how we seek to achieve this is first and foremost making sure that how we measure our impact is airtight. You cannot reduce what you don't know. So that's one of the fundamental principles to our strategy. The other is to have very deliberate strategies. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of our markets are very different. You know, South Africa, as an example, has, you know, is very grid dependent, and is going through a crisis at the moment of, you know, load shedding, and it's pushing everyone to think differently and to think outside the box. Then you have Nigeria, that's largely, you know, diesel dependent. And so what we recognize is that no one solution works for every single country. You have to have very tailor-made, very deliberate strategies for each country. And with that comes the need to use a vast amount of different types of technologies. And I think a lot of the panel members have spoken about some of the different types, and I'll touch on that and a few examples shortly. I think last but not least is the absolute fundamental importance of supplier engagement. You've seen the picture. There's just no way that one operator can do this alone. You have to work through partnerships. When it comes to different technologies, obviously there's different technologies out there, and I was recently at the COP27 event last year, and I think I attended a McKinsey event, and everyone was trying to figure out which exact technology is going to be the most effective. And the answer, which we all knew, was that there's no silver bullet. We're going to have to all apply different technologies, and we know that some of the colleagues in the event today have spoken around energy efficient technologies, the use of renewables, and so forth. So as MTN, we see a combination of using technology for good, looking at aspects like IoT, energy management systems, tools, and so forth, energy efficient basket of solutions, and then the use of renewable, whether individually, solar, hybrid, and so forth. And I'm going to touch on a few examples at the moment. So if you look across our footprint, we set this really bold ambition, and at the end of the day, it comes down to the individual countries to have a particular solution. And so at the end of the day, they're applying a basket of different solutions. I want to touch on the Uganda example. In Uganda, they're looking at reducing, obviously, their emissions footprint. And one of the things they've done is to convert some of the sites where there is enough space to solar. And then in others, they're applying a combination of hydro and solar and so forth. So there's quite a lot of combinations that are being applied right now to be practical and to ensure at the end of the day that there's connectivity and that it also drives socioeconomic development. And I want to end with this thought. Climate change can be viewed as a challenge, but it can also be viewed as an opportunity. And I think when we look at it from an African perspective, we really fundamentally believe that it can be an opportunity. If you look at the GSMA's Sub-Saharan Africa report on the impact of the mobile industry in Sub-Saharan Africa, you see that the industry in 2022 has had an 8% contribution towards the GDP of the various economies in Africa. And that's significant. And I think more so when a continent is facing the challenge of unemployment, to see that 2.8 million jobs, informal, indirect jobs, and so forth, are being contributed as a result of the sector, it's incredible. Now bring in the climate change challenge, and you say, how can the sector take that and convert it to opportunities? And for us, we fundamentally believe that it can drive green jobs, green industrialization, and green SMMEs. So together, using this power of partnership, taking partners like Huawei and others, combining that with local partners, we believe you can see African and global entrepreneurs and others that can create this catalytic and positive socioeconomic contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's Africa is the best place to do it, the land of opportunities and young people, actually. All right, so we heard again from 3 operators. Now we're down to the 4th operators, and it's going to be from China. So we have here the Cloud Network Development Department, Managing Director for China Telecom. And he will let us know the road for sustainable development and the green. So let's welcome China Telecom, Fang Ji.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to attend this summit. Okay. My topic is about developing green telecom network ideas and practice. 2 parts. When we discuss why green development is crucial for operators. And then I will talk about the Chinese telecom network green development practice. Okay, this is a brief introduction of China Telecom. I think lots of people familiar with that, so I change to the next page. In recent years, telecom operators around the world are facing slow revenue growth. As it's a fact, I think. 2021, more than 60% of the 20 major global operators will see revenue and profits growth below 4%. The trend towards pipeline has intensified, I think. It's urgent for operators to transform and upgrade. In order to change this situation, as mentioned by Gardner, cost cutting is no longer a tactic, but a strategy needed. Many operators began to reduce investment and control costs, also promote green transformation. In the long term, operators still need to find new revenue growth points. But on the other side, we can see the huge development space of digital economy has brought new great opportunity to operators. According to statistics, the global operators' innovation business revenue has reached 26%. In China alone, operators are seeing half our revenues come from industry digitalization. Again, in 2020, Chinese government declared the so-called 30-60 carbon strategy. in response to the new policy, China Telecom has launched 8 green actions. Most important things is that we began to build an intelligent and comprehensive digital information infrastructure. These actions help to reduce costs and increase efficiency, create new business growth points. Externally, we hope to support the digital economy and the green transformation of society. Let's share something. Today, industrial digitalization accounts for 85% of the global digital economy. It's a main engine for the development of digital economy. The regularity of the digital economy shows us that the digital transformation requires efficient collaboration among cloud, network, big data, AI, security, etc. It's also an important opportunity for telecom operators to transform. We believe that the green development of the operator network includes 3 aspects. First, to upgrade legacy network to the coordinate network of multi-play digital elements, just mentioned. Second, the green and low carbon transformation of the network. Also, they are deeply integrated in the process of network evolution. Third, use this infrastructure, digital capability to build a digital platform to support both internal or external digital transformation. Okay, next I will introduce some China Telecom's practice. First, build green computing power to meet customer demands anytime and anywhere. China Telecom has deployed a series of data centers to support multiple digital elements. Also, we build a computer power operator platform to meet customer differentiation computing needs. Also, we use a variety of methods such as liquid cold service, AI-based operation to improve the level of the efficiency and low carbon. Okay. Secondly, China Telecom has been promoting network coordination to build an agile, elastic, and reliable infrastructure. We learn from the multi-agent architecture of the public cloud, everything know public cloud, to promote the coordination of core network elements such as 5GC, IMS, and platform. Rely on the unified cloud foundation, remote, multi-active, and elastic scaling. We have built a high available cloud-based network architecture, which significantly improves resource utilization, performance, reliability, and energy efficiency. Okay, so the China Telecom has been promoting an optical comprehensive network for green connection. Over the past decade, China Telecom has upgraded all of our network from north-south traffic to east-west traffic. We have been actively promoting gigabit optical network, ROADM, flat network, and converged service carrying. This allows us to provide a more convenient and efficient cloud network connection with high bandwidth. Also, we benefit lots from green action. Okay. China Telecom also cooperated with China Unicom, build a core construction 5G network and saving 10 million tons of carbon emission annually. Also, we develop AI-based energy-saving platform and an integrated PV storage system to reduce the energy consumption. Fifth, we also built a green data center that serves as a supply hub with computing and network integration. China Telecom has deployed 2+4+31+XO data center globally to promote collaborative planning for the multi-AZ cluster and a co-communication hub of data center. During construction, we have used new energy-saving technology. The PUE is below 1.2, and the carbon emission level is greatly reduced. We have also built a zero-carbon big data center in Qinghai province. Sixth, build a digital platform to enable the digital economy and a green transformation of society. We have digitalized the infrastructure capabilities such as cloud, network, big data, AI, security, and DC. By encapsulating and orchestrating those capabilities, China Telecom has developed an open digital platform for video service, AIoT, air service, etc., for enabling the digital transformation of government, manufacturing, education, and other industry. This change form a new revenue growth points for our company. We believe that the digital economy will continue to be the engine of the global economic growth. In the future, China Telecom will continue its evolution towards all optical, cloudified infrastructure, ubiquitous computing, power, and air-ground integration. At the same time, we will continue to promote infrastructure, convergence, and innovation. For helping the digital transformation of industrial and large enterprise, we will cooperate with Huawei, develop a next generation cloud network X.0. This network will serve the collaborative and high availability problem of cloud application and network. For the family digitalization, we will develop converged edge means to support edge computing network and fixed mobile convergence. Okay, that's the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was all of the 4 presentations from all 4 operators. Now, everywhere I go, our customers or our analysts from media and analysts, our friends and partners, they always ask me, what is Huawei's strategy in ICT? Are you investing in 5G or 5.5G? How you balance the investment, green, development, a lot of questions. So today, no one can better answer those questions but the president of Huawei ICT Strategy and Marketing. We're lucky to have him. He will let us know how to balance green and development and choosing not to choose. Let's welcome Peng Song.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank you all for your attendance today. I know most of us just arrived in the city, and some of us are still suffering from jet lag, including myself. We appreciate you and recognize that. I also would like to thank the speakers for sharing their creative ideas and thoughts. Anyway, we are back together in the beautiful city of Barcelona, and we are back together for the great purpose and an ultimate hope. The purpose is leveraging advanced ICT technologies for efficient and prosperous society development. But the hope is for everyone to live healthier, happier, and safer in a green world. In summary, my presentation today is about these two great areas, development and green. In the next few minutes, I would like to share with you about Huawei's perspective on the relationship between green and development. Should we prioritize one over the other to focus on? And let me give you Huawei answer. Before I start, choice is not an option, and we should choose both. And let me show you how. There is no doubt that we are witnessing an explosive growth of a new round of AI applications. And ChatGPT is the perfect example. It hits the record of 25 million daily visits within just 2 months after release. And I believe it's safe to say that the interaction model between these AI apps and users will rapidly expand from text to voices, images, and videos. In addition, AI training will evolve from a centralized model to a distributed one. A new intelligent era is fast approaching. This will bring 3 major opportunities and benefits for the carriers. First, carriers will have new sources of revenue. For example, they can provide new 2C and 2B AI services. Second, carriers will be able to provide better service experiences. For example, improving the quality of service calls. Third, carriers' network operation and maintenance services will become much more automated and intelligent. This will supercharge the development of ICT infrastructure. We estimate that by year 2030, the computing power of AI will increase 500-fold, and the demand of AI interactive data will increase 100-fold. In addition, changes to AI training model will create higher requirements to the network architecture. However, all the above massive AI growth and the great development opportunities will naturally result in increase in network energy consumption, which is estimated to grow 25-fold by 2030 if we do not take actions and innovate. And this presents a huge challenges for our green initiatives. So, which one we should prioritize, green or development? As Carl Robert Sunstein noted in his book, choice can be extraordinary benefit or an immense burden. In some contexts, people choose not to choose. In the ICT industry, I believe we should sharpen our focus on both green and development together. Green is the precondition for achieving development, while development provides means of making green a reality. As for the choices between green and development, we choose not to choose, but rather to take them both. ChatGPT has been trained on massive amount of data. So let's see how it answers the questions we face in the ICT industry. As you can see, ChatGPT tells us that we should choose both green and development in the ICT industry. It also suggests that we should focus on 3 areas while prioritizing both green and development: energy efficiency, use of renewable energy, and user experiences. This echoes Huawei's approach and highlights our ICT infrastructure innovations strategy. When we work with carriers around the world on green and development initiatives, we often find ourselves in a situation where we need to make choices in those three areas. In these situations, we also choose not to choose. First, for energy efficiency, we focus on both improving network energy efficiency and reducing absolute energy consumption, especially during idle times. We choose not to choose and take them both. Second, for the use of renewable energy, we focus on both deployment scheduling, scaling of renewable energy, and intelligent scheduling of green power. And we choose not to choose and take them both. Third, for user experiences, we focus on both energy saving that does not impact network KPI and user experiences. We choose not to choose and take them both. Next, I'd like to walk you through how Huawei has managed to choose both in these three areas. Last year, we proposed the concept of more bits, less watt to improve the efficiency of the energy of the networks in active mode. And this year, we have extended this, introducing a new concept to reduce the absolute energy consumption of the network in the idle mode, 0 bit, 0 watt. When traffic load is low, intelligent shutdown can help save energy based on frequency domain, time domain, spatial domain, and also power domain. In particular, when mobile traffic load is extremely low, we can put AAUs into deeper dormancy. Only the power supply units remain on standby. The AAU hardware shutdown can be realized without any issues, thanks to the material and technology innovations. This can reduce AAU power consumption from 300 watt to less than 10 watt when their traffic load is extremely low. Now, let's move to renewable energy. In the past, we paid more attention to the scale of green power deployment. Now, we also focus on intelligent scheduling of renewable energy. From the site perspective, we take one site, one policy approach to renewable energy planning to increase planning and deployment accuracy. From agility perspective, intelligent scheduling reduces the time needed from days to minutes. This helps in maximizing the power generation, conversion, utilization, efficiency of renewable energy, thereby creating greater economic and green benefits. To implement intelligent scheduling, Huawei has introduced site awareness capabilities to obtain multi-dimensional information about a site. For example, the weather, electricity price, battery status, and traffic volume. Intelligent dynamic scheduling algorithms are then used to optimize load-based power availability, power generation efficiency, and the overall power consumption cost. Now, last but certainly our natural goal, user experience. Traditionally, we used to focus more on network energy saving and network KPI assurance. We now also focus on ensuring user experience. Our optimal energy saving policies are tailored to different network scenarios. In low traffic area, such as ski resorts in summer or beaches in winter, we maximize energy saving while ensuring the basic network KPIs are met. However, in higher value scenarios, like those for FWA or VIP users, we aim to ensure optimal user experiences in addition to energy saving. This means we have to move from relying on human experiences to relying on data to develop and implement energy-saving policies. With this data-driven approach, energy-saving policies that meet both customers' performance and energy-saving targets are generated within minutes based on data collected from live networks, and the policies can be implemented within the milliseconds. To achieve these three advancements, we should have a set of standardized indicators and create a visible, manageable operation and maintenance system for green operations based on these indicators. Over the past year, Huawei has worked with multiple carriers and standards organizations worldwide to promote the standardization of green indicators. Next, we're going to work with our carrier customers to build tools for these green indicators to be visible, manageable, and also optimizable during the journey of network operation. To conclude, in the ICT industry, we should choose not to choose between green and development. We certainly can pursue both of them together. In productizing these three advancements, Huawei has developed systematic green development solutions and services, and will introduce them over time, starting from today. Today, I'm honored and glad to officially launch our Green 123 solution.
All right. And that will do it, everybody. Thank you all for your attendance. Have a very lovely, happy, and fruitful, thoughtful week here in Barcelona. I appreciate all of the speakers' idea, all of your attendance. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.